Hey heroes, welcome in. We are your hosts for hire. I am Kyle Cage. This is Lucas Rand. Today we're getting into something that probably a lot of people have already talked about over the years, but we wanted to touch on what we call the tragedy of the MCU Hawkeye. What they did to our boy, we feel like we missed out on a lot. There was a lot of opportunities. Before we get into all of that, make sure to follow us at Hosts4Hire
Yes.
podcast on all socials. It's Hosts4Hire with the number 4 podcast. But I'm gonna let you start, Lucas, because you love archery and archers, and Hawkeye is generally a lame character, but I know you've always really liked him.
Let me
So
stretch here so I can get my proper rage out. Okay, the reason that this came about, first of all, is because I've just been recently going back through the MCU right from beginning to finish, and I just got to the first Avengers. I haven't seen it in a long time, like years and years and years. And in my memory, it's very, very good, right? So I was excited to watch it. Within the first 15 minutes, dude, I was so pissed at what they did to Hawkeye. I was so pissed that I called Kyle and I was like, hey, we have to go on and record because I have emotions that I need to get out. I'm just going to start from the beginning. You guys know in the scene where Loki comes in right at the beginning, like right as the movie opens, he like comes in through the Tesseract, right? And right there, let's start right there. Why wasn't there any goons that he came with for Hawkeye to be able to like pick off and kind of do a demonstration that there's another named character in the room along with Loki? That like it wasn't just Loki versus a bunch of Shield agents, because he's just picking them all off like nothing,
he
and
could have
he's just
very
alone.
easily just brought a few Chitauri with him as well.
Right.
You know.
That's exactly it. Just a few like goons, just for the same eventuality could have happened. Everything the same could have worked out. Just we would have gotten to see Hawkeye do a little Hawkeyeing beforehand. Leads me to number 2. Kyle. He didn't have a bow, Kyle. He didn't have a bow in his
The
hand.
archer man didn't have a bow.
In the scene where they're like, where's the hawk? And he's like, oh, he's up in his nest up there. He's just sitting up there, no bow. When he comes down, no bow. He goes for a gun, no bow.
Like what was the thought process here, guys? Come on.
I actually would be really curious to know if they were like saving, if they were like trying to do like a where's Hawkeye?
Oh, what
Like
are we doing
here's
here?
Hawkeye
Yeah.
like later. I don't know what they were trying to do, man, but like immediately that bummed me out. I was like, if we were grading this movie as like movies that have just come out, kind of like how Brave New World is getting just like shit on like for what it's doing. If we were to take the same level of criticism and apply it to this, dude, they dropped the ball so heavy. There was no badass scenes in this whole movie with Hawkeye. Almost in
Yep.
all of the MCU, there's very few like really like Hawkeye scenes.
Yeah.
It's almost like somebody hated Hawkeye in the creation here, and they were just like, he's just a guy with a bow. Fuck Hawkeye, and they didn't know like. What comes to my mind right away is that comic cover where it's Ultron and he has like all the Avengers around him dead. It's like Mjolnir is broken, Hulk is dead, like Cap's shield is broken, like Iron Man is next to him, like all crushed, like all
Oh
the
yeah, and then
you know what I'm
in
talking
the
about?
reflection. Yep. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
dude,
it's
and like
just
right in his
Hawkeye is the
reflection, it's
only one
Hawkeye,
left.
dude, with like an arrow trained like on his head. Dude, don't disrespect my boy Hawkeye like this, dude. It
Like
hurts
he
me.
doesn't have superpowers, sure, but he is the survivor.
He's
That's what
elite.
he's
In just another episode, we were talking about when you think of like sharpshooters in comics. There's 2 names that come up, and it's Deadshot and Hawkeye. Like, bro, don't disrespect my boy like this. He canonically in the comics goes 18 for 18 in golf. That's
every
like
time he golfs.
impossible. Like,
Every time he golfs.
like that's
time.
like a damn near Omega level feat, right?
And it's just a dude doing this. Like that's what people seem to forget is that Hawkeye is just a dude.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah. But like that's what would make him so badass, right? That's like his point,
Mhm.
right? like in the
Yeah,
Avengers.
and then
Him and Black
this
Widow
they just
are,
kind of made him a slightly above average
they
shield
hit
agent.
on Black Widow. Like they made her like a threat. They gave her some badass scenes where she's like in a vehicle with 6 dudes and just like molly-whopping everyone in there. Like she has she has a lot of scenes showing her capability.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Throughout the MCU, where like for some reason, like another great example when in the scene of Avengers when Loki takes that like car and like Hawkeye's driving the car and he's like going around shooting the like trucks and he shoots like Nick Fury out of the air like when Nick Fury's in the helicopter.
Hmm.
Why is Hawkeye driving? Why isn't another dude that he like manipulated driving and fucking Hawkeye's in the back shooting out car tires? Like could have been such a cool scene.
Random shield agent number 2 not driving. You know,
Dude,
it could have literally been anyone driving.
I just picture such a cool scene. You know, like that chase scene from Black Panther where like he's like ripping the tires off of cars and it's just like dope as fuck. That could have been such a cool scene for Hawkeye, like a chase scene where he's just like dismantling Shield. Like Shield is coming for him and coming for Loki and like show the capability of a named character. You know, like when like you don't get to like be an Avenger without having like this level of like capability.
It would have further solidified that Loki is the master
Manipulator.
He doesn't do anything himself unless he has to. Very much like a lower, lesser version of Thanos. Fine, I'll do it myself. It would have built even better. It's just
just to your point, it would have showed how smart Loki is and how good of a manipulator he was, because he would have chosen then to come to that location where the Tesseract was on that day, where Hawkeye was there, where he could manipulate Hawkeye because he needs Hawkeye for his plans. He doesn't need some random dude that he just happened to encounter, because that's the way they play it. Is that like Loki just shows up, he's like, oh, you seem useful. Boop. You know what I mean? Like it could have been that he had the foresight, you know, like he's been watching. He has a plan.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know, man. It just feels like they dropped the ball so heavy. And if, like I said, if we were grading this like we were grading stuff today, and we're kind of putting shit a little bit through the ringer, if this came out today, bro, I would have some spilled milk about this shit. I'd be doing what I'm doing right now, where I'm just like, you know, where I'm like passionately harping about this shit because like I didn't remember that, you know, like it took this rewatch of Avengers where I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, especially at first. Like there was some stuff they ended up doing that.
The movie is still good. I'm still like I haven't finished it. I'm still like going through it, but
yeah, but with Hawkeye specifically, his overarching story, they ended up doing a few things that helped redeem him. But still, overall, I think it could have been much better.
Yeah, like in Age of Ultron, he has some redeeming moments. You know, where he's like with Wanda, he's like, "Yo, like I'm a dude with a bow and arrow, dog. Like, let's go out here," and he just like is
also
fucking
just
up like
some
Ultron.
scenes where he's fucking up the Ultron bots. Super dope. There were some really dope scenes of him in there.
But that goes back to in Age of Ultron. He has like the most cringy line, man. One of the most cringy lines where he's like talking to his wife Laura, and like she's like looking at him, and she's like, "Oh, look, like the Avengers out there, like they're such a mess," and he's like,
"They're a mess."
No, yeah,
terrible, dude.
So bad. It's
so bad.
Cringy. I don't know. There was a couple of things though that, like, again with Age of Ultron, that really just grind my gears. Like, you brought up Age of Ultron.
I've been spill milking for a while. Talk your piece.
You're good. You said Age of Ultron, and every time I hear that movie or think of it, James Spader deserves more flowers. James Spader deserves more flowers. I've said
the
it before,
movie deserves more flowers, in my opinion. But that right there, when we've talked a lot about castings and perfect castings as well, and we did James Spader a little bit of disrespect because his Ultron, and also like Paul Bettany's Vision, two castings that came from that movie. Well, really, Paul Bettany was Jarvis for a lot longer, but like,
yeah,
still, I don't understand how people hate on that film so much, specifically on Ultron.
Incredible. One of the best MCU performances, in my opinion.
Let us know
what you guys think about James Spader as the voice of Ultron, but I thought the writing and the performance was immaculate.
Like I said, he had some of the most banger lines in all of the MCU. where like Thor is like, hey, like if you want peace, then like let's keep the peace, and he's like, I think you're mistaking peace with quiet. I love that line.
Ugh.
It's so good, dude. Like when he's coming in the beginning with the strings, like how could you not like that? That was so good.
And
Where
he's like, oh no, like oh god,
yeah, where he's like
like
pontificating about like, no, you couldn't be heroes. Like, of course not. Like, oh god. And he's like,
look at all you've done.
in real time, he's like going through the internet and then just like witnessing, like, dude, I love that.
Only like the fact that scene hits can only be done by a really well acted.
Oh, dude, that's what I mean. Like James Spader in that, like, ate. Dude. He ate with that role. I'm so excited to see Ultron come back. Apparently, we're gonna see Ultron come back in Armor Wars and stuff. I'm so excited. Like I'm just so excited.
Again, one of my favorite underrated roles. Back to Hawkeye though. Again, underrated character though. Like in general, people kind of see him as like
apparently the like makers of these movies were just like, nah, fuck Hawkeye. You know what's another thing? Actually, going back, yeah, bring me back, Kyle, because I got more to say. Okay, because they had a whole TV show on Hawkeye, and they still didn't show us any Ronin scenes. The whole TV show was about the ramifications of him being Ronin, and we didn't get like not a half a episode, not a full episode.
We should have at least had one full episode where it was a full flashback of him being Ronin during the snap.
Why couldn't we have gotten that? Why couldn't we have? The most we saw was him like chasing some like dudes and then wiping his blade. And that was it. Like, why do you guys hate Hawkeye? Why do you guys hate Hawkeye so much?
When the whole Hawkeye show and you hate him? Like, why?
Like, oh man, he's just one of the most badass characters. Like, again, in the comics, as Old Man Hawkeye, he is a blind and deaf and out there just never missing. Why are you disrespecting this man?
Yep. I will say one of the cool things, speaking of blind and deaf, that they did in the show that I liked was they gave him his hearing implants
and they gave it a reason. I thought that was cool. Where they're like, why do you wear that? And he's like, explosions
everywhere all the time. I'm not protected by a metal suit. I'm not like, if Natasha were here, she'd be deaf too. I don't know what to tell you.
She's got one of these. She's got the elegant one though, because she's sexy.
Yeah. All right.
Oh god, for real though. But for real, an R.I.P. Hawkeye, dude, because they just fucked Hawkeye so hard, dude. I don't even know like why they did that.
He's gone now, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's I will actually very much so wonder, because I know that Jeremy Renner like had a terrible accident. I know he's a lot better now. He's okay, but I don't know how he's doing like in the acting front, and if we're ever gonna get to see Hawkeye again. That's actually a really.
I would really love to see like an old man Hawkeye, like the one you're talking about, where we're like. We had talked about it in another episode again, but like Charlie Cox has expressed interest in playing Matt Murdock forever.
Oh, dude, something they could do actually really interesting is in Secret Wars, because you know there's going to be just like a culmination of a bunch of different multiverse, a bunch of different things. There could be one from a future, and we could see like an old man Hawkeye, like maybe like an old man Logan again. You know, like these characters.
Interesting.
I don't think so, but like that's a nice taste to roll around in the mouth.
Yeah. Well, I just hope in like maybe like 5-10 years they could do a few like, you know, makeup things to age up.
Oh, for sure.
Jeremy Renner if they need to. 100%. And like he could within 5-10 years be able to play like an
like grow his hair out, you know, make it white, like add some wrinkles on his face. He's got like the like circular sunglasses that like he rocks.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Oh, dude, I love that shit. I would be just so in. Mm-hmm. I would be so in. You guys, tell us if that's something that you would like to see. Would you like to see a Jeremy Renner, Old Man Logan? Would you like to see a Jeremy Renner Wolverine? Would you like to see a Jeremy Renner Old Man Hawkeye at the big screen? I know I definitely would. And also, tell me if you agree with these Hawkeye takes. Please, I need you to tell me if you agree with these Hawkeye takes, because I don't remember people talking about this, and I haven't seen like enough rage about what's happened to my boy Hawkeye, the tragedy of Hawkeye, as Kyle put it.
Yeah, because what they did to him was tragic.
It ain't right. It ain't right. So yeah, tell us if you agree. Tell us again in the comments, as always, episode ideas, things that you want to put into Colin, You know, Colin's hungry for your ideas.
Yes, we need help to fill his never-ending vast brain.
Yes. Yes, indeed. A penguin brain is able to hold lots of information, so help us put it in there.
Yes, and make sure to follow at Hosts4Hire, like, share, subscribe on all the videos. It's at Hosts4Hire podcast. Tell everyone, tell your kids, tell your
Please.
wives. To-
Tell your husbands, because we're trying to talk to everybody out here.
Yep.
We're trying to get to 100K. You guys, please, that 100K is so elusive. And we're trying to hit it, and we will be forever in your debt if you can help us get there.
Yes.
And thank you for joining us today on this episode where we just spilt a whole bunch of milk all over the place about Hawkeye. And we will see you guys next time.
Thanks.